Alrighty, last presentation, corporate presentation of the day before we come to our closing keynote. It's Roger Moss of Labrador Gold, and keep in mind I'm a director of Labrador Gold, so I'm hugely conflicted, of course, with everything I say. And Roger, thanks for joining us here.
Thanks, Guy. All right, this is the
clicky pointy thingy.
Okay, and the mic's on, I think.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so we're all good. Well, thanks, Kai, for the invitation to present here at your gold. Deutsche Goldmesse. Yeah, it's my first in-person conference for over 2 years, I think. So it's good to be back, and I'm really happy to be here, not just to tell you about our story at Labrador Gold, but also about Newfoundland in general, because as some of you may be aware, it's gone through quite an exciting period of a staking rush, a gold rush, and we're right in the middle of it. So I'll start getting through this. The legal material. I will be making forward-looking statements during the presentation, so I'm not sure why that happened, but and yeah, so the story for us really started in March of last year, and it's kind of interesting because, as you know, in March of last year, that's when all hell broke loose. So it wasn't exactly the best timing for us to be starting a new project, but it did end up going very well. And our Kingsway project now is here. You can see here in central Newfoundland. Very good jurisdiction to work in. The government is very supportive of both exploration and mining, and they've actually come out and said that they want to see 5 new mines developed in the next 10 years. So that's a pretty good statement for a government to come out and put out there. We were very fortunate earlier this year to be able to raise a significant amount of money, so we're very well cashed up for our exploration that we're doing, and that exploration is primarily focused on drilling, and at the moment we're about 2/3 of the way through a 50,000-meter drill program. So this basically takes you through what we've done over the last 2 years almost. The story really started with the discovery by Newfound Gold of its on its Kingsway property, and that intersection of 92 grams a ton over 19 meters, I think, took many people by surprise, including us. But once I'd done a little bit of research into it and decided that this was actually going to be a real deal, we managed to pick up some ground in March along strike from Newfound Gold. We acquired a 3rd license, and then we started work in August of last year. Did a lot of initial basic grassroots exploration, and the culmination of that was discovery of this visible gold at what we call Big Vein. Coming into this year, following that discovery, we started drilling initially with a 10,000-meter budgeted program, and that grew after we did financing in 2 financings in April and May that brought in $25 million into the company and gave us the encouragement, I guess, to increase that drilling to 50,000 meters, which we're in the middle of now. And finally, and then the drilling is going well, and we'll get into that in a minute. But finally, the last part of this timeline, if you like, was another discovery of visible gold, this time in outcrop of quartz vein that we made earlier in October, and that one's called Golden Glove. So this is what really got me about the Kingsway property, as we call it now. First of all, we're a long strike from Newfound Gold's discovery hole, which you can see there at the Htc Zone. They've also got several other occurrences, which we'll see in a minute. But not only are we along strike and have the same geology, the most important thing, and I'll come back to this a number of times, is this Appleton fault zone, which is a major structure that we believe is a very prospective and productive structure for gold mineralization. This is a closer look at it, a bit more. This is a magnetic map in the background. The red line is the Appleton fault zone. And you can see now a few more occurrences that I've put on here, both on Newfound Gold's ground down to the south, the Keats Golden Joint Lotto, where they've been putting out a lot of news, our recent Golden Glove discovery, their Big Dave discovery just to the other side of the boundary, and then our big vein where we're doing all our drilling right now. So it's this structure looks to be very prolific. Oh, wrong way. This is where we were at last year, but at the end of last year, we'd really we'd made the discovery of the visible gold. We'd found big vein. We developed that over about 400 meters. But it was really some of the other exploration that really gave us the confidence to go forward with this initial drilling program. And a big part of that was the soil samples. You can see on here we've also got several other hits along strike. That's about 7.5 kilometers, that northeast southwest strike length there. And again, it's alongside the Appleton fault. This is the discovery outcrop shown here in the picture. It's called Big Vein because the geologist who stumbled over it while he was mapping called to his colleagues and says, "Hey guys, you have to come and look at this big vein." And it is quite big compared to some of the other veins that we see on the property. In the map, we can see there the red quartz vein in the center of the map, and that's essentially the surface outline of the big vein. Now that's not continuous. It's intermittently exposed over that 400 meters or so, but we're confident that it's there, and we've drilled most of it by now anyway. The other thing on here are the soil samples. And you can see the soil samples, these little dots. The purple ones are the highest amount of gold in the soil samples. And one of the soil samples assayed almost 10 grams a ton. 10 grams a ton of gold in the soil sample is phenomenal. And that strike length of about 300 meters to the southwest of those gold grains gave us the confidence to actually get in and start drilling. That's what the visible gold in the boulders look like. I'm going to have to speed up a bit here, I think. The drilling, we have seen visible gold in the drill holes. This is an example of what it looks like. Unfortunately, you probably can't see the individual gold grains, but the red circles are where they are. You'd have to trust me on that one. And some of the assays you can see on the side there, we've got some pretty high-grade assays over narrow widths, and then some lower grade but still good assays over longer widths. And what we're looking at, I mean, if you follow Newfound Gold, you'll always see them comparing their core from Queensway, the Keats Zone, to the Fosterville deposit in Australia, the Swan Zone there. And so I put our core on here as well, and ours is on the left, Queensway's in the middle, and Fosterville's on the right. And I mean, it's very similar based on what you can see in these photographs. Anyway, same style of gold mineralization that we're looking at along this Appleton fault as Newfound Gold have, and what I understand Fosterville is as well. This is some of the drilling and the highlights on here. I don't have time to go through all the highlights, but what we have, when we initially started drilling, we had big vein, and that was outcropping on surface, so we knew that was there. We were confident that we'd be able to find that, and we did. It outcrops at surface, goes down to 10 meters or so in the discovery area. We've also found another zone called the Htc Zone, which is actually higher grade. And that's where most of our high-grade hits come from, in this Htc Zone. And just recently, we announced that we'd found a third zone in the footwall of the Htc Zone. So now we have 3 zones in this area. This is a long section, and basically this is just to show you that it's a steeply plunging steeply plunging mineralized zone. We've drilled it down plunge to over 200 meters now, and it's still open, so we'll be continuing drilling down in that direction as well as filling in some of the gaps in the middle there. This is one that I could probably spend a little bit of time on, but suffice it to say that this is one of our targets that we've developed from till sampling, and these grains of gold were found in the till samples. And the interesting thing about these grains is that you can see they have pointy edges and sharp edges. So what that means is that these gold grains didn't travel very far with the glacier. So they're very close to the source, and our consultants that did the work for us estimate that they would be about 200 meters from the source. Now the ice goes from the southwest to the northeast, and so what we're doing now is we've moved a drill just to the southwest of those till samples to look for the source of those gold grains, because we believe that they don't come from Big Vein, that there's actually another source of gold for those gold grains between Big Vein and those samples. And we just started drilling there last week or the week before. So that's a very exciting new area that we're testing. Obviously, there are lots more. Here they are on here. These are all occurrences or anomalies that we're developing with the field work to the point where they can be drill tested. And I would say right now we probably have three or four of those that are ready to be drill tested and will be tested once we get permits, including Golden Glove down in the south. So we've got a lot of drilling ahead of us. This is what the Golden Glove looked like in outcrop, some of the values. Very similar values here to what we saw at Big Vein. The difference being this is outcrop, Big Vein was float. They were boulders. So that bodes well for what we might find at Golden Glove. This is basically our strategy. It's what we're looking at is the Appleton fault as the main control, that northeast, southwest trending fault that goes down onto Newfound Gold's ground, and along which all these occurrences occur. Where we have intersecting structures and positive geochemistry are where we target. And you can see that some of these targets are shown here in the yellow circles. So lots of work both on the ground and in drilling to follow up these targets. This is the share structure as it is right now. The share price earlier this week was 81. It moved up a bit the rest of this week. We've got a market cap of about 125 million, 153 million shares out, just over 200 fully diluted. As I mentioned, we're well cashed up. Eric Sprott is the major shareholder at 12.1%. And then we have a number of other companies, Palisades Gold Corp, Newfound Gold, our neighbor to the south, and Crescat Capital, all with significant shareholdings in the company. So I'm sorry if that was rushed, but I think I finished on time, so I'm out of practice, sorry.
No, fantastic, Roger. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I think we have time for one question. So if we have any questions from the audience, we do have one. Philippe.
Yeah, Philippe, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Sorry for putting you on the spot right now.
That's okay.
Do you have an opinion on the recent kerfuffle with the photon assay and gold, and where do you guys use?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I've been getting that question a lot, and it's a legitimate question. I think it's what we would call a tempest in a teapot. I don't know exactly what happened there. My suspicion, and I suspect the labs do a good job. You know that, I know that. So my suspicion is that there was selective sampling. That's the only thing I can think of. All of our QA, QC materials have passed the tests. We have only used Eastern Analytical in Newfoundland. We are sending samples out to a referee lab to check. So I guess the jury's out until we get those samples back as to whether we see a discrepancy as well.
This stuff is fatality seed. You go to the, you don't do fire assay. Well, you do fire assay, but you go to the
Exactly. So what we do is for regular assays, we'll just use the regular fire assay and the AA or gravimetric. But any of those samples that come back over a gram a ton, we do a metallic sieve, and then anything with visible gold in it automatically goes for metallic sieve.
Very comfortable.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Roger.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.